Good morning, real life traders. Good morning, everyone on YouTube. Do me a favor, please. Just give me a one in the chat. Make sure you can hear me okay. Beautiful. Thanks, Al. Attorney Dan, Rick. Good morning, everyone. All right. Tuesday morning, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Hope everybody has a wonderful day today with their significant other or whoever you choose to spend it with. All right, let's take a look. Let's dive into the broader market. Welcome to Chop Fest, Jay Linder says. Yeah, you know what though? I mean, yesterday ended up being a pretty nice day. Hey, good morning, Rock. Yesterday ended up being a nice surprise. I was not expecting such a bullish day yesterday. But we had a nice run yesterday. So I know that when I was on in the morning, some people made some money on Tesla. Unfortunately, I missed a setup on Apple that came within 20 cents of my entry, did not fill, and which would have been a great trade. Just, hey, good morning, Kyle. The idea was correct. The analysis was correct, just did not get filled on that entry, which would have been amazing. But anyway, good morning, Ron. All right, let's dive into the broader markets. Let's take a look at what we're looking at. I mean, look at this volatility, right? So 8:30 this morning when CPI came out, look at this volatility. And this is a really good example for any of you who are new to trading, newer to trading. A great example of, now granted, this was 8:30 in the morning and the markets were not open, but this is a great example of why you need to be aware of announcements, Fed announcements, any type of a catalyst that is going to create a lot of volatility in the market. So imagine if this was during regular market hours, and you know that we see this sometimes with Fed announcements when Powell speaks, it gets crazy. But this is a really good example of why you want to be aware of when those announcements are, so that if you are in a trade, you can either get out of the trade before that announcement hits. You can tighten up your stop. You can just take some measures to ensure that you don't get whipsawed. Because I mean, look at that move. I mean, that would, if you were in a trade, if you were just, this is a 5-minute chart, but if you were trading this, your stop absolutely would have been hit. And that's another reason why you have to have a stop, right? Imagine if you didn't have a stop and this just kept running in some direction, the direction opposite of which way you were going. Granted, this just threw in this crazy high wave candle that's got some massive range, and now we're just trading inside of it. But imagine if you were in the trade and you didn't have a stop and it did that and it just kept running. So anyway, I'll get off that soapbox now. Let's take a look at where we are. So before CPI came out, we were looking like we were going to have a nice little gap up in the market. So right now we're looking at opening currently inside. When we're looking at the S&P here and the NASDAQ, we were like, again, right before this came out, we were slightly gapping up. So we're looking at a bullish retest gap in the broader markets. But right now, currently inside day, we'll just have to watch, see how this plays out, right? Between now and 9:30 in the next 26 minutes. We'll just have to wait and see if we break this range. I mean, that is such a wide range in terms of the pre-market, right? So we have to choose the direction. In terms of SPY and the Qs, let's take a look, zoom in a little bit here. So again, nice move yesterday, right? So we had this bullish retest gap on both the SPY and the Qs, and pretty good, pretty good strength. If you look at the close here, right? If we zoom in here on SPY, I mean, that's pretty much a shave top candle, right? It's pretty close. I mean, there's a tiny little wick up top, not much though. If we come in here, again, a little bit more of an upper wick on the Qs, but still very strong close. So what am I expecting today? Well, even before I saw this crazy move here, pre-market, generally when I see some type of a shaved top candle, okay, and there's a really good example here. But we just go back a couple of candles. Look at this one here, okay? Shaved top candle, right there. Typically, when I see that, the following day, I'm expecting anywhere from a 30% to 50% retracement of the previous day's candle. So here, that was quite a bit more here, this retracement, but generally 30% would be what I would expect. So if I were just to draw some just random lines here, I would think that, you know, somewhere in this range there on the SPY and Qs is what I would expect in terms of a retracement today before we start going bullish, if we go bullish. But again, that's just from experience with, and this is whether it's the broader markets or an individual ticker. Whenever I see a strong close like that shaved top candle, I am expecting some type of a retest the next day. Again, anywhere from 30 to 50% retracement, but typically around 30 is what I look for. All right, so I think we're good with the broader markets. I mean, not a lot to look at here right now, other than we really need to decide which direction we're going here. We're going to go bearish, we're going to go bullish. And if we go bearish, right, likely we're just going to sit inside here and this within yesterday's price range. So Jay already touched on that. So just, you know, you would expect some chop, you know, based on the inside. Rock says, not a fan of days like this. Yep, agreed. Shane, would you consider the pre-market move that 30% retracement? No, not necessarily, because this is, Shane, this is, again, this is the result of a catalyst, right? So I'm talking about just in general, forget about the catalyst that made the market become so volatile here. In general, news aside, catalyst aside, I would expect a 30% retracement off of a shaved top candle, just any given day. So I would not necessarily consider this to be that retracement. Again, this was just, you know, some crazy volatility in the market. So Attorney Dan, what I'm saying is, if anytime, right? And again, this is kind of a broad statement. Anytime I see a shaved top candle, right? Here's one. This was pretty much one yesterday, right? I'm expecting usually and this is a strong bullish candle. So I'm thinking, you know, if we can go bullish today, right? Would be expecting some type of a retracement into this candle before we go back up. So about 30% is what I typically look for on that. All right, let's go and let me start taking a look at our individual tickers. And we'll also look at my scans. See, I got a couple, we'll have to check them out, see if they're still setting up this way, but I've got a couple of gap and goes that I found that I can share with you. There will also be likely some retest gaps, although right now, you know, given this volatility, like things are definitely going to be looking more like an inside day today. Let me switch my share over. All right, so here's Nvidia. All right, so prior to Ron's asking, without the news event, would pre-market count retracement? No, I'm really looking for, because Ron, typically what you would experience with this is that the previous day, right? The momentum from the previous day is going to cause the pre-market to be going up. Then what happens is that people are profitable, they take their profit, that creates that retest, right? So it's typically when the market opens that retracement will happen, right? So not necessarily the pre-market, because again, pre-market, if you think about a strong day carrying over to the next day, is going to create momentum, right? So, and that momentum at the open of the market, right? We might have a slight gap up. You know, it would be a retest gap, but that retest based off of that strong move, that's where I expect that retracement. And, you know, it's typically from people taking profit. So Nvidia, let's dive into Nvidia. I've already adjusted all my lines. Got the daily chart over here. We have the intraday chart right here. You can see here prior to 8:30, right? We were breaking above the high from yesterday. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to expand. I cannot see right now if there we go. Okay. I had to, sorry, I had to expand a screen over here so that I could see the chat in YouTube just to see if there was anything. Pat's asking on YouTube, do I use TOS or FinViz or something else? So Pat, I have Interactive Brokers, and so Interactive Brokers has a pre-market scan, and that's what I use for my scans. And then to answer your question, so DJ Dan is with his family down in Florida, and Maloney is on vacation in India. And so the Wi-Fi in India, we've had experiences before with Maloney where the Wi-Fi is really kind of spotty. So she just figured it would, just to play it safe, that she would not try to cover any rooms while she's gone. So, and again, DJ Dan down in Florida. All right, so Nvidia, right? So right now we are trading within yesterday's range, right? So here's yesterday's candle. We've got the high and the low marked out. We have the pre-market high and low here. And again, this is a pretty wide range pre-market. So we're going to need to pick a direction here. And again, we could easily just chop around. Overall, we're, we were in that overbought area. We've come down back below it. We do have there's like 2 moving averages here that we just have to be aware of in terms of, in and around our immediate price action. We have the 10 EMA on the daily here. We have the 20 EMA here, the hundreds down here, right? So we have a couple in the way, but not a ton. But again, we have this wide range here that is both in the broader markets and on all these individual tickers that we're going to look at, where we're going to have to break this range to choose a direction. Tesla, right? So Tesla, we have a doji from yesterday, right? So at one point would have been a fairly bearish candle here, but got bought up, which is a nice sign. So bears, the bulls stepped in, propped this up. So doji, it was again pre-market looking like we were going to go bullish on Tesla, and then of course that volatility occurred, and now we're back in to the range. So let me adjust this line here. This is the orange line is my pre-market. So pre-market high, pre-market low. Let's see. Pat is saying on YouTube, tweezer tops on Nvidia. Let's see. Tweezer tops. Pretty close. Yeah. So the high of this candle is 220.48. High of this one, 220.78. So within 30 cents. But when you're talking a $200 stock, yeah, for all intents and purposes, tweezer top. So Pat on YouTube is pointing that out. So yes, clearly a strong level of overhead resistance here. But again, we did break it pre-market, right? We got above that. So yes, so for all intents and purposes, given that it's a $200 dollar stock, that is pretty close to I would consider that tweezer top, strong level. Back to Tesla, just see if there's anything else here that we have to look at. So we're back inside the range from yesterday. Markets are pushing a little bit lower. We're coming down, at least on the S&P, we're coming down to the low of that that crazy high wave candle. So approaching the low of the pre-market low right now in Tesla. In terms of the daily picture, we've got a few moving averages to be aware of. Here's the daily. The red line here is the daily 10 EMA. Here's the 100 on the daily, and then here's the 20 down here on the daily. So let's see, where am I? Yeah, zoom out a little bit. So on the intraday, the 20 is not even the picture right now, but we do have the 10 right here, and we have the 100. Here's the low from yesterday. Here's the high. So we'll just have to wait and see. It'd be interesting in the next 15 minutes to see what happens here. Does this pre-market low, does that hold? Now, if Jose is saying we can't trade Uber on AAPL. I don't have my my funded account open yet, Jose. But if there's anybody else here in the RLT who's got their funded account open, if you could check that for or Jose, if you have yours open, but check. My guess is that Uber probably is not traded on the funded account, just given the nature of that particular ticker. I'm guessing it's not, but anyway, somebody can confirm that. Throw that in chat for me, please, if you would. All right, so Tesla right now, just inside day currently. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, be aware, like, so if we do end up, right, let's take a look at this level right here, right? So this is the open from yesterday right here, okay? So per the 10 EMA rules, right? So we have this rule that says in the first 20 minutes, did the stock have a bear candle gapping above the open or a bull candle gapping below the open, right? So here's the open from yesterday, right? Basically this line. So we would be looking for some type of a, it would be looking for some type of a gap down, right? So it's saying a bull candle gapping below the open. So if we get a bull candle here in, in the first few minutes in the market, once this opens, then it would be in play. But this is a pretty wide range here in terms of this this doji. So I see Randall Human is on YouTube checking it out. Hey Randall, how are you? Randall and I were texting each other over the weekend. Hope you're doing well, Randall. Check out Amazon. Okay, Amazon daily picture. Again, handful of moving averages within the immediate price range. So we have the 10 EMA here on the daily. Here's the 100 simple moving average. Here's the 20 EMA here on the daily. Let's see. High and the lows marked off with the green lines. We currently, again, trading within yesterday's range, right? So pretty big candle. So this likely, if this price action, current price action holds, then we're going to be having to wait on Amazon, right? Because it's going to have to break, the range of this candle to trade it, or we're going to have to wait an hour after the open before we do. And thank you, Josh is confirming that Uber is not tradable on the funded account. Oh, and thank you, Shane. That's very helpful. Shane put in the chat there a list of all the tradable assets on AAPL. Good to know. I didn't even know. See, you learn something every day. I didn't even know that was a thing. And Randall is also confirming on YouTube that Uber is not AAPL. All right, cool. I'm going to click that. Thank you. I'm going to download that. Shane, that's awesome. I'm going to download that spreadsheet. Beautiful. All right. So back to Amazon. So currently trading inside yesterday's price action. Again, we've got this wide range. So it's kind of a unique thing where we have such a wide range pre-market that we're going to have to break in order to really pick a direction. Plus, so there's two things in play. We have to pick a direction based on the pre-market range. Then we have to pick a direction based on yesterday's candle. So it could just be one of those days where spend a lot of time sitting on your hands, which is okay, right? I mean, sometimes no trade is the best trade, but again, we don't know how the market is going to respond once it opens. So we're just going to have to wait and see, and then we will react and trade accordingly. AMD. All right. AMD has a bunch of moving averages, in and around the current price action. So I know this looks like just a plethora of lines, but it all makes sense to me when I'm looking over here at my intraday. So we have here, this jagged line here that is the weekly. Since I'm on a daily chart, I know the jagged line here is the weekly. That's the weekly 50. That is right in the middle right here, right? So currently trading in and around that area right now. We have the daily 10 EMA, which is right here. We have the monthly. We have a couple monthly moving averages. We have the 20 up here. We have the 10 EMA on the monthly down here. So handful of moving averages, but more importantly, we have some monthly ones there. So you want to be aware of that. Randall's throwing out into the chat and YouTube. Check out XOM. He said setting up for a short. Yeah, let me see. Jeff is asking about the link. Let me see if I can copy that. Wait, hang on. Let me see if I can do this. All right, Jeff, I just posted that there in the chat. You might just have to copy and paste that into your browser. My guess is, from what I'm looking at right now, it's not showing up as a clickable link, meaning it's not a hyperlink, but you could probably just copy and paste that whole thing into a browser. But if you would, throw in the chat, let me know if that worked for you. All right. All right. So AMD, yeah, we are just inside right now, right? So we're going to be experiencing some chop if we open right here. We would need to get above or below. Oh, did not adjust one line. Hang on a second. Move this up. Okay. You're welcome, Jeff. Jeff is saying that worked for him. Okay. So AMD, again, we're just going to have to wait and see where we open. We've got the high and the low from yesterday mapped out. And let me just move this up. So, and we have all of our moving averages here. So there's quite a few in terms of the moving averages now. And again, that doesn't mean you don't trade it just because they're there. It just means you be aware of that they're there, right? So if you're setting up a trade, you might be using those as a target. Yeah, Jose, definitely we're going to be talking about Palantir, PLTR. I actually got into PLTR last night after hours. I got triggered in on a really nice entry. So I'm going to cover that in a second. AMD, let's go to Apple. Right. A lot of these are going to look the same, right? So Apple and the daily, and Apple again has a ton of Apple has a ton of moving averages also but down below here, right? So we've got a lot of support in the way. Now they're currently, you can see they're down here, right? So here's the current price action. So just below yesterday's low, that is where we are looking at all these. But also, look at this. I mean, that is almost a shaved bottom, right? There's a tiny, tiny little wick down there. I mean, just a nub. So that's a very strong level from yesterday. So I would expect some support here. And the way the markets are looking, again, everything can change, but right now, broader markets, they're holding that low from that crazy high wave candle that came out at 8:30. So anyway, but we are right now trading inside. So we've got some, I got to adjust the pre-market level here. Right. So there's Apple. Let's see. Let's take a look at, we will take a look at PLTR right now. So that's one I was going to mention to everyone. PLTR, I mean, look at that doji from yesterday, right? Look at that volume on that doji. I mean, that is a lot of indecision. And so what I did yesterday was, now I want you to bear in mind, I have a position PLTR already. So what I've been doing is I've been adding and building to this position. And once it made this move here, right? So after it came off this low and it came up here, I mean, if you look at this, I mean, this is, just eyeballing it, you can see though, I mean, look at that. Perfect. I mean, that's the beauty of Fibonacci's. Like, that's why I love using Fibonacci. Look at perfect 50% retracement, right? So what I did when I was after adding down here, not quite at the low, but after adding down here, and then it made this move here, I just threw on a fib, and this was not necessarily intended to be a earnings play from yesterday, but I just threw on this fib here, and that 50% retracement was right around where this the daily 100 is here. So I threw an order out there, and I actually put it out there on, I want to say Monday morning. I set it up and I just put it out there, just and it was the order was for $7.23, right? Kind of a random number, but that was the number I threw out there. And so that was sitting down here, right? Where are we? 723. Right there. So that's the level that I threw it. Now, how did I choose that level? Well, if you extend this to the left, right, I was just kind of looking through, I was looking at that 50% retracement off of this move here. I was also looking left and looking at the support resistance level and this chop through here. And I was like, all right, well, that's that 50% retracement, or somewhere in that neighborhood, a little bit more. That's probably closer to the 61.8. But I just threw it out there. And I set it up as a, good to cancel. And I also set it up to be able to fill after hours or pre-market. And yesterday yesterday it was trading right around the 750. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I'm going to miss this entry. Maybe it's just going to, end up, going bullish without me. And then certainly I knew that earnings were there, and I figured there might be a chance I'd get filled in the earnings. Anyway, that first candle when earnings were announced, wick down there, and I got the alert at like 4:09 that I had been filled. So anyway, just to and that just shows you can do your analysis, and you can set and forget an order, right, and just wait and see if it fills. Sometimes it doesn't, but in this case, like, that's a pretty good, within 20 cents of the low. Pretty good entry. So anyway, I added to my position. I'm not going to be trading around PLTR today because I already have a position. But if you are looking to trade PLTR, you've got a bullish retest gap, right? So just be aware that it is a retest gap. But the earnings were strong. It was positive. The interesting thing about PLTR is that the analysts are not like, changing their position on it that much, right? So everyone's still like a little cautious on it. But Jeff, I did post that in the chat. I don't know, maybe YouTube blocks that. But Jeff, if you want to email me, send me an email, Steven@reallifetrading.com. Steven is STEPHEN, Steven@reallifetrading.com, and I will email you that link. All right. All right, let's go and take a look at, so real quick, we have 1 minute. I want to just throw out these other ones. Let's see what they're doing. These I don't think are going to be in the funded account, but First Solar, right? So make a note of this one. So these are a couple of gap downs. So energy, there's a couple regarding energy that are that I found that are gap and goes, right, to the, and certainly if the market goes down, these could be nice plays. So First Solar right now 161.86, right? So we are right below, and that's a nice gap, right? It's gapping below this 50 here. Anybody who bought yesterday is trapped. It is not clearing this. Well, no, it's not clearing this pivot currently. But just be aware of this level if you are looking to trade it. But First Solar, gap and go. let's take a look at, okay, market just open. Let's just take a quick look at these other two that I had for you. Solar. So again, these are all going to be energy related. And so here's another gap and go here. It opened down here. So you've got a gap and go. But again, this is not clearing a pivot, right? So, but you did get all of this volume right here just taken out. So just be aware that it's not clearing this pivot. It's a nice gap. I'm not sure of the exact percentage right now. Let's see, about 9, it's saying, okay. It's a little much, right? And it's gapping into this candle. So, but you can keep an eye on that. Also keep an eye on CLF, Cleveland Cliffs, nice gap. This one I like much better than the SCDG that we just looked at, right? So it did clear, right? It cleared this pivot. So there's your bearish gap and go. So you could be looking to play this. Again, I don't know if these are or are not traded in the funded account. I didn't get a chance to check that yet, but I like where that opened. That opened, I mean, look at that. That opened, it traded right to, this is the weekly 50, got rejected. So keep an eye on that. I'm going to throw that on to chart down here. I like this one. Again, I don't know if this is in the funded account, but all right. So I'm going to sign off from YouTube. Thank you everyone out there, YouTube, for being with us. As always, would love to have you join us at Real Life Trading. Just come on over to reallifetrading.com, join the all access room, be with us from 9 in the morning until 6 p.m. every single night. Good luck today trading the markets, and